सुधागड एज्युकेशन सोसायटीचे पूर्व प्राथमिक, प्राथमिक, माध्यमिक व उच्च माध्यमिक विद्यालय कळंबोली मराठी, हिंदी, इंग्रजी, उर्दू माध्यम यांच्या सौजन्याने शैक्षणिक व्हिडिओमध्ये आपलं सर्वांचं स्वागत आहे.
Hello everybody, good afternoon students. Now in this lockdown, our school has decided to start our online lectures, and so we are going to take our online lectures. Okay. Now I am SP Patil. I am going to take your chemistry lecture from the topic first, solid state. So about solid state, let us see this topic. In this topic about matter. So matter is everything. Matter is anything which has certain mass and which occupy the space. So here this matter exists in three physical states: solid, liquid and gas. Okay, now here three diagrams are shown. One is gaseous state, liquid state and solid state. Now depending on the movement of particles, let us see here in this first two, the intermolecular force of attraction between molecules of this gaseous state and molecules of liquid state. These force of attraction are very weak. Here the force of attraction is as per as negligible, and here the force of attraction between this molecule is less. Now here, so these are free to move. This gaseous state and liquid state molecules are free to move everywhere, and here in this solid state all these molecules are compact, very close to each other. Okay, means the intermolecular force of attraction between these solid particles is very strong. Depending on this force of attraction, we can explain the movement of particles. That here in gaseous state and liquid state they are free to move, and here these constituent particles are not free to move. Now here some properties of this solid state, liquid state and gaseous state we will discuss here. Now here mass, solids having definite mass, liquids having also definite mass, and gaseous molecules or gaseous substances they also having definite mass. Okay, now about shape. Solid state, we know all solids having definite shape. See the example of duster, perfect shape, book, chair, any solid state having definite shape. Liquids, they acquire shape of the container. Suppose 10 ml water or 100 ml water, if we keep in a jar, it acquire the shape of jar. If it keep in glass, acquire the shape of glass. So this is the basic property of liquids. So it acquire the shape of container. Okay. Gas, it acquire the shape of container. Now about gas we know, so these gas molecules are very compressible, so they can occupy the minimum volume. So if we take 100 cm cube of gas, so that gas occupy the complete hall, complete room. Or if we try to occupy the gas in very small space, that is 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter area in this volume, that same gas can be occupied because the gas molecules are compressible. Now rigidity. So solids are highly rigid. See chalk, example of chalk. So it is rigid, it is tough. These are less rigid. Liquids, these are less rigid. And gaseous molecules, they are not rigid. Space between particles. So about the space between these particles, in between these particles of gaseous state, liquid state or solid state. So here in solid state, these are very closely packed. Each and every molecule are very compact to each other, close to each other. Now here in case of liquids, they are less closely packed comparatively than this solid state, and here in case of this gaseous, least closely, because they are not force of attraction between each other. The force of attraction is as per as negligible, so they are least closely packed. Now next property is interparticle force. Strong force of attraction, here slightly weaker than that of solid, and here it is negligible. So here we can explain that the existence of matter is depending on two factors. One is kinetic energy of the particles and the intermolecular force of attraction. Okay, so here in this last point, the intermolecular force of attraction is very strong, and here in liquids it is comparatively less strong, and here as per as negligible. So these are the properties, these properties we can discuss. Now here let us see classification of solids or categories of solids. There are two categories. So crystalline substances and amorphous substances. Now here by taking one particular example, so quartz and glass, these both are made from silicate SiO4 unit. Quartz is crystalline and glass is amorphous. So this quartz, which is useful in all electronic materials, this is made up of silica unit. The basic unit is SiO4 minus unit. Glass, this glass is also made up of silica, means it has also SiO4 unit. But what is the basic difference between all this? That is given here. See here, components in crystalline solids are regularly arranged. See here in this example, in this diagram, see components in crystalline solids, they are regularly arranged. Look here, this arrangement of particles. So the pattern is regular. You can see all particles, the dark spot is of silicon and the hollow sphere it is of oxygen. So they are alternately placed and their shape is hexagonal. Now here in amorphous substances, they are not regularly arranged. Again here they are also containing silica and oxygen units. These are as components. But see the arrangement is not arrangement is not regular. So here somewhere it is pentagon, somewhere it is hexagon. So the arrangement is not regular. It is arranged irregular manner. So analogy, we can say that the troop, military troop, so the militaryman, each militaryman having a specific distance. So that is arranged manner troop. But if we consider the crowd outside the theater or outside the railway station, they are having irregular arrangement. The people's having irregular arrangement in between them. So why all these particles are regularly arranged, and here in case of amorphous substances they are irregularly arranged. This is the basic difference, and on this difference their properties can be explained. Next. So here let us distinguish between or compare between crystalline versus amorphous solids. Regular internal arrangement of particles in crystalline substances, and here amorphous substances, irregular arrangement of particles. The arrangement between particles is irregular or it is randomly arranged. So they are true solids. All crystalline substances are called as true solids, and here these are supercooled liquids or pseudo solids. They undergo sharp cleavage. When you see any crystalline substance is cut, so that cut piece, it has sharp cleavage. Its edges are very sharp. But here when this amorphous substance is broken or cut by any means, then it has no sharp edges. Okay. The fourth property is anisotropic in nature. All crystalline substances are anisotropic in nature, and these are isotropic in nature. Okay. Now what is isotropic and anisotropic? Let us see here. Substance which have physical properties different in different directions. So such substances are called as anisotropic in nature. Now let us see here in detail. So these all crystalline particles have regularly arranged. These small dots, they have one row. These hollow dots, these have second row, or they are present in the second row, and again the small dots in the third row. So these small, hollow, small, or this bold, hollow and bold, these dots are alternately arranged. Okay. Now if certain properties like as refractive index, electrical properties or thermal conductivity, like this all properties, if we check for crystalline substances through this A direction, the value of that property will get changed. The value of that property will get changed because it has this particular direction. See, this particular direction, and in this direction only hollow dots you can see. Is it right? But if in this direction, B direction, we consider, B direction has alternately solid, hollow, solid, these different particles will come. So here the value of property will get changed. Is it right? Do you understand? So anisotropic means if the value of property is get changed in different directions, when measured in different directions, then such solids are called as anisotropic in nature. and crystalline substances are anisotropic in nature because they have different constituent particles. They are regularly arranged, but their positions are alternately placed. In case of amorphous solids, they are isotropic. They are not anisotropic. So their properties, their physical properties are same in all directions. By any directions, if we check the value of certain property, then the value will not get changed. Their value will remain same, not change. So because in every direction the constituent particles are irregularly arranged. Through every direction it will have same number of abstractions, but here in particular directions, particular type of particles will meet, and here in another direction alternately one another particle will meet, and thus the value of that solid will get, that property will get changed. Okay, so this property is called as anisotropic and this property is called as isotropic. So all crystalline substances are anisotropic in nature and all amorphous substances are isotropic in nature. Next property, they have sharp melting point. They have sharp melting point, and these amorphous substances melt over a range of temperature. For example, any particular crystalline substance is taken, then it melts at a sharp or particular temperature, particular melting point. But here if we take the example of rubber or plastic, it melts over of range of temperature, so it require maximum temperature to get complete melting. So here these particles having sharp melting point, and here they melt over a range of temperature. Large temperature range will require to melt this amorphous substances. So here the next property, next distinguishing point is they having definite heat of fusion. What is heat of fusion? The amount of heat required to fuse the substance. Total amount of heat required to fuse the substance is called as heat of fusion. So these crystalline substances having definite heat of fusion, and here they don't have definite heat of fusion. Next, now let us discuss some questions on this previous knowledge from the previous sheets. So first question, which of the following is not a characteristic of crystalline substance? Take your time of 1 minute, think over it and try to give the answer. Let us check. See, first option is so read carefully, not, which is not a characteristic of crystalline substance. So definite characteristic of heat of fusion, isotropic in nature, a regular periodically repeated pattern of arrangement of constituents, and true solids. See, what is your answer? Let us check the answer. Isotropic in nature, which is not characteristic of crystalline substances. Just before in previous sheet we have seen that they are anisotropic in nature, and this is not a property of crystalline substances. But here this property, all crystalline substances, they having definite heat of fusion, they having regularly periodic arrangement between constituent particles, and they are called as true solids. Okay, now next one, which of the following is true about refractive index of quartz glass? Refractive index of quartz glass. Read again, take your time. Same in all directions. B, different in different directions. C, cannot be measured. And D, always 0. Think over it and check the answer. See, the answer is same in all directions. See, which of the following is true about refractive index of quartz glass? Not quartz only. So it is of quartz glass, and glass is the amorphous substance. So this is the answer, because different in different directions of crystalline, cannot be measured, it is not true, always 0. So the correct answer is same in all directions. Now next, types, isomorphs and polymorphs. So what are isomorphs? Two or more substances having similar chemical composition in same crystalline form or crystalline structure are called isomorphs. For example, Na3PO4. So the stoichiometric ratio 3:1:4. 3:1:4. So this is the ratio. Here the another example, Na3AsO4. 3:1:4. The compounds are different. But their stoichiometry ratio of constituent particle is same, 3:1:4. 3:1:4. Here K2SO4 and K2Se4, selenium, and here sulfur. The stoichiometry ratio 2:1:4. 2:1:4. Okay, so these substances are called as isomorphs of each other. They are isomorphs of each other, and the compounds which show this type of phenomenon, this type of property, this property is called as isomorphism. Polymorphs. What are polymorphs? A single substance that crystallizes in two or more forms under different conditions is called as polymorphs. For example, calcium carbonate. It exists in two crystalline forms. One is calcite and another is aragonite. So their formula, molecular formula is same. Calcite and aragonite having same molecular formula, that is CaCO3. But this calcite has trigonal geometry and aragonite has orthorhombic geometry. So their geometry is different, but formula and constituent particles are same. If this polymorphism we consider in terms of elements, this property is called as allotropy. It is known as allotropy. For example, what are allotropes of carbon? Allotropes of carbon: coke, diamond, graphite. So these are the allotropes. So when polymorphism property is considered in terms of elements, it is known by allotropy. It is called by allotropy. Allotropy of sulfur sorry, allotropy of sulfur, or allotropes of sulfur, colloidal sulfur, alpha sulfur, rhombic sulfur. So these are the different forms of sulfur, and it is called as allotropy of sulfurs. Okay, so these are isomorphs and polymorphs. Some crystalline substances, we can see this different example. See, first water in the form of ice, second sodium chloride, third metallic crystals, and fourth quartz crystals, SiO4 unit. So these are crystalline substances, but their constituent particles, these constituent particles having different type of internal arrangement. Internal bonding is different. So here in case of water, it forms molecule H2O, it is molecule. Second, sodium chloride we know it is ionic compound. Some metallic compounds, they form metallic bonding, and quartz crystal, that is SiO4 unit, it has covalent bonding. Means here the classification of crystalline substances is based on molecular solids, ionic solids, metallic solids, and covalent solids. Means the types of solid depending on the force of attraction between the constituent particles. See here, ionic solid, molecular solid, covalent solids, and metallic solids. So it is tried to discuss all these points for these different types of crystals, their unit particles, the force of or bonding forces, their properties, and examples. Okay, now unit particles in case of these ionic substances, positive and negative ions, for example sodium chloride, Na plus and Cl minus. Okay, so their unit particles are positive and negative ions. Their bonding force, that force of attraction, is called as ionic bond. It is called as ionic bond. What are the properties? These are hard, brittle, their melting point is very high, high heat of fusion, and they are poor thermal and electrical conductors in solid state. See, sodium chloride in solid state, it does not conduct heat, it does not conduct electricity. But when this sodium chloride is dissolved into water, its ions get dissociates, and then they are able to conduct the electricity. But in case of solid state, they are poor conductor of electricity. Example, sodium chloride, lead sulfide. Here Pb, this is S, Pb, Pb and Pb. So in between 4 units of Pb, the smaller size sulfur unit or sulfur is present or accommodated in between this. So this is ionic compound. Molecular solid. So this molecular solid, these are polar or non-polar molecules. Their force of attraction is van der Waals force of attraction, or maybe London force of attraction, or dipole-dipole interaction, or sometimes hydrogen bonding between them. So this type of internal forces are present. Their properties: low to moderately high melting point, they are poor thermal and electrical conductors. For example, ice, dry ice means solid CO2. Solid CO2. So here we can see HOH. In case of water molecule, oxygen is polar in nature, so it pulls the electron pair toward itself and it acquire the partial negative charge, and hydrogen acquire partial positive charge. So here when we see the bonding between two different water molecules, H2O and H2O, so they are bonded with dotted HOH. So partial positive charge of one molecule and partial negative charge of the second molecule, they are attracted or bonded together through hydrogen bonding. So this is hydrogen bonding present between this type of molecular solid, or maybe van der Waals forces of attraction, or maybe London force of attraction, or dipole-dipole attraction between them. Now covalent, or they are also called as network solids. Their unit particles, their constituent particles are atoms in covalent bond network. So they contains covalent bond. The constituent particles in this covalent or network type of solids, the constituents are called as atoms, and their force of attraction is covalent bond. Their properties, they are very hard, high melting point, poor thermal and electrical conductivities. For example, diamond, quartz. So here the example, this is carbon covalently bonded, tetrahedral bonding or tetrahedral geometry between these graphites. So again tetrahedral, this will again form tetrahedral bonding, and a giant crystal structure formation take place. The structure which runs in 3 dimensions, and it forms a giant network solid type of structure. The next is metallic solids. Their units are cations present in the sea of electrons. So we know metals are very close to each other, very compact with each other, and they having their valence shell, and number of electrons are moving in their valence shell. So as the size of atom is very large, very big, these atoms, these electrons in their last orbit, they are very weakly held with each other. Okay, so these electrons are free to move everywhere throughout in the crystal. So it is said that when one electron leaves the metal atom and it enters in the same orbital, in the same shell of neighboring atom, it creates the positive metal cation. Okay, means for every atom all electrons are moving here and there, so it is considered that there is a sea of electron, and in this sea of electron all cations are suspended. Suppose this is metal piece, then positive metal, electron, electron, positive metal, electron, positive metal, electron. So number of free mobile electrons, and in the sea of electrons all these metal ions are suspended. So they are suspended in the metal crystal. So the force of attraction between electrons and metal cations, that is called as metallic bond. It is called as metallic bond. Now what are the properties of metal? So these are soft to very hard, very soft or to very hard. Their melting point is low to very high. So variations. They are excellent thermal and electrical conductors. We know metals are very good conductors of heat and electricity. So it is said that, or we can use the metal vessels for our cooking purpose, or cooking utensils are made up of metals. Electrical wire, cables, so they are made up of these metals, because these electrons present, these electrons are not bounded to any kernel, any positive cation. They does not belongs to any particular cation, so they are free to move, and these all electrons are called as mobile electrons. Because of presence of mobile electrons, the electricity can be conducted through the metals. So these are the properties, and we know examples: Fe, copper, zinc. So these are the crystal structures of these metals.